Okay, seeing the time is 7 o'clock, I'll do a call to order, and I'll ask Councilor Felch to lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll ask the recording secretary, Katie Canano, I stood up anyway. I've been practicing it all day. It's the pressure to call the roll, please.
And he
Madam
had it right.
Secretary,
Yeah,
I
he
did.
did.
Madam Secretary.
Counselor Cheney.
Here.
Counselor Susie.
Here.
Counselor Hoffman.
Present.
Counselor Haynes.
Here.
Counselor Bogart.
Here.
Counselor Felch.
Here.
Mayor St. Clair.
Here, thank you. And the staff in attendance tonight, we have City Manager Kirk Bayati and Glenn Smith, the Finance Officer. And a happy crowd outside there. We have no proclamations. How about we have an acceptance without objection of the minutes from the last meeting? Everybody good with that?
Yep, so moved.
Okay, done. Okay, I'd like to move without objection, 14.
Do
Oh, wait.
9 first. You do have a 9.
Oh, you want to do 9
Yeah,
first?
you
Okay.
yeah, let's do 9 and then.
Okay, excellent. Well, if there are any citizens that have comments for matters not on the agenda tonight, this would be your time to come on up and let us hear about it. Remember, matters not on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, Patrick Wood, Ward 1. I just want to say thank you to the city for the wonderful Friday luncheon, the Christmas luncheon that the city put on. It was a great event, extremely well attended, and what was really exciting to see is that we had one employee from the water department that's worked for the city for 40 years. Very impressive. So thank you all for being a part of that and having the city do it. So, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Pat. It was quite a luncheon, and you're right, 40 years is,
It's a while. But thank you.
Hi, folks. Greg Huff, Ward 2. I just wanted to come up and take a moment off the agenda, or not on the things that anybody's going to talk about tonight, and just thank all of you. You know, we all love this city. You've all done a great job putting yourselves out there. You've all done a great job trying to help, trying to do all the work that we need done. And I want to just give you a heartfelt thank you. I appreciate it. And for those who are returning, I want to wish you well in all your future endeavors. And for those of you who are going to stick around, I look forward to seeing you every Monday of the second and fourth week of the month for the next 2 years.
thank you, Greg, and thank you, Greg. Greg, thank you for keeping the mail rolling.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. What a pleasant surprise. Go ahead, announce your presence.
Yes, Doug Lambert. I'm a citizen of Belknap County.
Guilford, New Hampshire.
Right.
Thank you.
Two things. First of all, Mr. Mayor, you've done a good job as interim. I've been following very closely, and I must say that you certainly look straight out of central casting as to what a mayor would look like. So I appreciate you filling in and done a good job. The second thing is I would just like to remind the council that the number one issue that people are buzzing about in the city of Laconia and beyond is the homeless issue. And just one quick point on that, at the last meeting that I attended, there was discussion about the cop. I call him the fentanyl cop on social media, but it was pointed out at the homeless forum and at this, I think it was the governance meeting, that this police officer gets invited to speak throughout the state about his program or whatever it is he's doing. And I would just ask that somebody give some thought as to how that actually helps people in Laconia that are paying the bill. So just a thought I had on that. It struck me at the homeless forum, and then it struck me the other night, and I think that it's something that should be thought about. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
I would just say that that position, the funding is reimbursed, so.
From the state.
From the state, so what is spent is not, he's paid through the city, but we're reimbursed and allows us to backfill that position so somebody else can to focus their job in the city.
Very transparent. Thank you. I'm glad to get that. And that's good, because you have a question and somebody's able to answer it right away, so that's a good thing. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, everybody. Matt Souza, Ward 4. I wasn't going to say anything, but some of the other comments reminded me. I've said some of this to you individually, but I'll say it to everybody. Have a great holiday season, and thanks very much for everything that you do and have done for the city. A lot of people really are aware and appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Matt. Well. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to ask to move 14 for presentations without objection up to this point in the agenda. Everybody all right with that?
Yep, so you do it right up front.
Yeah, I know. Don't forget to get it. I'll do it mine, never mind. So this is for the 2025 Deborah Bienas Memorial Award. Most of you should be aware of who she was, and a very important person in the history of Laconia. So 38 years ago, the Laconia City Council established the Deborah Bienas Memorial Award for outstanding service to children and youth in the Lakes region in memory of police officer Deborah Bienas. Late Officer Bienas served the city and its youth with uncommon devotion, dedication, and distinction during her 9 years with the police department before her death in 1987. Each year, a committee composed of one city councilor, one member of the police department, and one member of the school board selects an individual to be recognized for this award based on nominations from members of the community. The award honors a member of the community who has enlivened and enriched the lives of young people. This year, the committee has chosen to honor a very special person for her undeniable devotion and commitment to the children in Laconia, to our entire community. This year's winner can be described as an unsung hero. As a first grade teacher at Woodland Heights Elementary School, she has devoted her heart and energy to guiding Laconia's youngest learners. She fills her classroom with warmth and encouragement, making sure each and every one of her students feel safe, valued, and empowered to grow. In the community, she generously and consistently volunteers much of her time throughout the year for the Gut Lunch program to ensure that children in our community have access to healthy and nourishing food all summer. She also volunteers with a Greater Lakes Region Children's Auction, dedicating her time and energy to help provide resources and opportunities for children throughout the Lakes region. You will also find her at several sporting events on her own time, cheering on her current and past students. Without seeking recognition of any kind, she exemplifies the best of our community, inspiring those around her through actions rather than words. She is a humble reminder that there are still amazing people in this world. In honor of her quiet dedication to serving our community, enriching the lives of children and families in countless ways, we are extremely proud to present this year's award to Jennifer Conley. This is sterling silver worth $5,000. But actually, this is very, very nice. Very nice. A little stand
Okay, yeah.
for it.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
No, I think it's, thank you. There you go.
I may have your attention for just a moment. You may notice that some of us are wearing Christmas spirit sweatshirt. We tried to get our mayor to do that. He has some excuse why he couldn't do it. But he always wears these ties. I've complimented him for 8 years. Some of them are hideous. This one isn't half bad. But in the spirit of Christmas, we've gotten him a Christmas tie.
That's wonderful.
Hey.
A box of put it in.
Yeah, he'll put it in the store.
I don't want it back.
He'll put it in the store and try and sell it.
That always crosses my mind. Thank you, and congratulations again, Jennifer. Nice. Unbelievable. A nice time. Okay. No interviews?
Nope, nothing until
No
public hearings.
nominations, no, well, okay, we're going to go to a public hearing now.
Just include, Mr. Mayor, just include that the action may be taken up later in tonight's
Yeah.
meeting. It wasn't written on there, so just add that.
Okay, we're going to have a public hearing. Notice of this public hearing was made available on the December 17th and December 20th, 2025 editions in the Laconia Daily Sun and posted in Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. This may come up tonight for discussion. And before I open the public hearing, I just would like, we had a lengthy public hearing on this last meeting. So I'd like to try to keep the commentary down to about 3 minutes, if we can, please. And if you don't, I mean, if you want to say something that somebody else has said, try to remember their name, and then you come up and give your name and then say, I agree with so-and-so, and then that will cover it. We'd appreciate that if you can. So we'll open up the public hearing at 7:13. This is on ordinance 2025-5-25-32, 5-33, amending Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 3, Boards and Commissions, Human Relations Committee, establishing the Human Relations Committee as a city committee. So we'll open that up now at 7:13. So if you'd like to come up and comment on it in a public hearing, now is the time to do it.
How you doing, Charlie?
Mr. Robinson.
Take your head
Doug Robinson, Laconia, New Hampshire, Cotton Hill. I'm here tonight because the proposal to reestablish the Human Relations Committee is moving forward without the most basic requirements. Responsible municipal government. We're being asked to create, or you're being asked to create, a permanent city committee without a mission statement, without a defined purpose, and without policies or procedures. This seems backwards to me. It's like putting the cart before the horse. I've never seen a horse push a cart. They always pull it. And we're kind of doing it backwards tonight. Historically, the HRC's functions were things like Martin Luther King, Rosh Hashanah, Multicultural Day, and other celebrations throughout the city that brought us together. At the last meeting, members openly questioned whether they should even be running the Multicultural Day, noting that Parks and Rec did such a great job with the Pumpkin Fest that they might be better suited to take it on. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold. All this, and this year, Martin Luther King celebration is being organized primarily by local churches, hosted at a church, and supported overwhelmingly by faith groups. They're already doing the work. So the question becomes, what would the committee actually be doing as an official body? Parks and Rec runs the events. Churches run the events. Community itself is unsure of what its own role is. Then the operational justification, making it permanent. Without a clear definition, mission, without policies, procedures, and without demonstrated municipal needs, there's no foundation for this committee. Most of the work can already be handled, and is being handled, by existing departments, community partners, and anyone else who wants to help or volunteer directly with these groups. I urge the council tonight to pause the proposal until this clear mission statement is defined with measurable outcomes. Creating a committee first and then figuring out its purpose later is no good. It's not governance. And it does not deserve the taxpayers of Laconia's support. Thank you.
Thank you. 3 minutes, too.
Just for you, John.
Patrick Wood, Chairman of the Human Relations Committee. I just want to make a correction to what has been represented here. The Human Relations Committee has been working all year to prepare the event for Martin Luther King commemoration. It is being held at a church, but the church is not involved in the planning or the preparation. This is all done by the Human Relations Committee and its volunteers and the people in the community that are willing to help. Just want to clarify that this is one of the things that we specifically work on every single year. And it's coming up again in January, the 18th of January. So there'll be more, hopefully, that you can hear on that coming forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm David Osmond. I've been a member of the committee for quite a number of years, and it's been a privilege to see the committee do its work, and I hope that the greater Laconia community has benefited from that. I had a couple of suggestions. They're going to seem minor in the scope of things, but just something to keep in mind as you work through this process of being clear about the ordinance. I don't think we've been a burden on the taxpayer. We've actually received some grant money to help on some of these matters that line up with the purposes of the grant from the Endowment for Health. One thing I hope that the council can try to either work into the ordinance or into some procedures would be the ability of the committee to call an emergency meeting to move very quickly. You know, normally you have to have certain notice provisions, and that can take a certain period of time. But I'm hoping that as we never want these horrible events to occur, but when they do occur, our committee wants to be clear and make a statement. Of course, it's subject to the council. This is the process. So there are guardrails that are going to be put in place, and if it's consistent, if we can have the ability to respond quickly when certain difficult situations arise. Leave that to your good judgment to consider and implement. One question I have, and I don't have an opinion about this, but I think it ought to be clear. Some member of the council will be a member of the committee. If that happens, let's say Councilman Felch is the designated person, and let's say at the last minute he can't make it, I think it would make sense for either the council or perhaps Tony himself to say, can you fill in for me, and that would work. It may not be baked into the language. It's probably baked into the spirit of it, but you might want to try to sharpen your pencil on that if that makes any sense to you. Pat mentioned the MLK celebration coming up, and I'm hoping there's at least a presumption of continuity that that event will go forward under that aegis of the Human Relations Committee, at least for this year. The other note that I wrote down is what level of detail would be required if the Human Relations Committee said, we want to do something. For example, on the homeless issue, we had a general forum. If the committee thought, for example, that it would be a good idea to have some subsequent hearings on that, let's say each ward, to have a mini version of that. I'm sorry, I'll try to wrap this up. What level of detail does the council want from the committee, and would we be given enough ability to follow through with the details of the planning of that? So I think the proposed ordinance makes a great deal of sense. Those are just a few small suggestions that I have as you think about it. It may just be something that gets worked out later on as we go forward. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for taking so much time.
No, don't. Thank you.
Ronnie Abbott, Guilford. So I just want to say, I've had the pleasure of meeting the Human Relations Committee, and I had really good rapport with a lot of them. So this is not to bag on any of them, but I do feel that making a permanent committee based off a retaliatory act isn't what we should be doing. It's something that's already been spoken about on social media as a retaliatory act towards our next mayor, and I don't feel like this should be the group making that decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll be brief. My name is Mike Conant. I'm from Ward 6. I live on Sheridan Street. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge all the work that the Human Relations Committee has done to this point. They volunteer their time and efforts, and that should be appreciated, and it certainly doesn't fall on deaf ears. But the reality is that the HRC, as it's currently comprised, is broken and inefficient, and it has no definitive purpose. Why we would create a permanent committee when there's no clear purpose, no policies, no values, no mission statement, that just doesn't make sense to me. There's many complex issues that need to be defined and resolved before this becomes a permanent committee. And I think the folks that just spoke before me made that clear. I just don't see how we make it when there's no defined purpose. I respectfully ask that we table this, keep it on the table as it is, and let's fix what's broken before we make something permanent. And I think the residents of Laconia deserve that, and I appreciate you guys listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. How is everybody? Mike Boards, Ward 6. I have a few concerns about this Martin Luther King celebration. First off, why is it being held at a church? Are we saying Jewish people can't attend this event? Is the Human Relations Committee part of local government? Should we be having local city events at a church? I know Pat Wood had reached out to our city manager, Kirk Biotti, and I said, it's fine to go ahead and move forward with the Martin Luther King celebration for next year or for January 18th. I have another issue. In their meeting minutes, the subcommittee would like to coordinate a service project as part of a volunteer week. Perhaps bake or make food for the homeless. What does that have to do with Martin Luther King Day? This is this committee going off on its own path with no guidance. I really feel this matter needs to be tabled so the new mayor and the new city council can take a further look at this and see where we want to go with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Archie Keltz, Ward 3. I kind of just want to bring out the point that the nature of this committee's work in its best light is the subtlety, giving voice to the marginalized, touchy-feely issues that I really don't think that the next iteration, which is very similar, by the way, of the city council, is going to want to have to approve every single statement that comes out of the mouths of the HRC in whatever form it takes, because the nature of their speech is going to be somewhat controversial, no matter what they say, because they're subtle issues, they're complex issues. And I think you should consider very carefully, before you make them a permanent committee under the city council, that everything that they say will have to be, it's you guys that are going to have to approve it. So if nothing else works, I thought I would just put that out there too. Thank you.
Thank you, Archie. Anybody else that hasn't spoken yet? Okay, come on up, Pat. Oh, wait, I saw a hand back there. Hold on.
It's all right, you can speak before me.
I'm sorry, I just want to correct a couple of things and ask, I'm not sure what this.
Well, she might have something you want to
I'm
correct
sorry.
too. You don't want to wait?
That's all right.
Okay.
Patrick Wood, again, I don't know what this bake-off is. That's not something that came before the Human Relations Committee, so I'm not sure what that is. As far as the holding the MLK event in the basement, or in the, not in the sanctuary, but in the church hall of the Congregational Church, it was done, we've had our meetings at those MLK events at the Belknap Mill, we've had them at the middle school, we had them in different places. We're going to have food as part of this event this year. They have a kitchen that's well supplied, able for us to provide the food and for the event. And it's accessible. It has an elevator, so people can get to it. It's centrally located. It was a decision that was made by the committee that this was a good place to try this. With regard to our sharing of space for people of different religions, the Yom HaShoah event, which is the Holocaust Remembrance event, which we've held for 3 years, they've all been held at the Congregational Church because it is accessible, it's convenient, and it's appropriately sized. So this is a community event. It's not limited to anyone because of their faith or any of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Pat. We have somebody in the back still? Come on up.
Sue Higgins, Ward 2, Laconia. First, I would just like to thank Pat Wood. He met with me yesterday and spent a couple of hours of his Sunday with me, and I appreciate him doing that. I went through several things with him, and the main message that I tried to give to Pat was that as chair of the committee, I thought that he would be best served to ask you to table this and to wait until the issues that people talked about were solved, that as a chair, that it would be in his best interest to do that. And he basically told me that how this moves forward is up to the city council, and that he doesn't really feel as though he should make a position statement as to whether it should move forward now or not. So I talked till I was blue in the face to try to get him to change his mind, because wouldn't it have been a much easier night if we could have just all said, hey, let's work on this and then make it a committee that really is working well. That didn't quite work out for us, so I just wanted to talk about a few things that we talked about, and my point is at the end, so I just ask that you indulge me for a minute. I asked Mr. Wood if, he told me that one of the reasons why he couldn't make a statement tonight was that aside from the fact that he didn't feel that it was something that he should do, that if he decided to make one, he would have to go back to his committee and get the committee to approve the statement before it could be done. So I asked him if he did that at the last meeting when he made a statement, and he said that he did not, but that at the last meeting, he was speaking on behalf of Pat Wood and not that of committee chair. So I went back and listened to the tape, and he did not identify himself as speaking on his own behalf. He identified himself as Pat Wood, chair of the Human Relations Committee. I then talked to him about the fact that when we were talking about this event, I grew up on Stratford Street, which is where one of the locations for the God Pods was. And somebody who's a really close friend to mine called me and said that when the homeless committee came there and kind of searched out that area, he got in a fight with them It was a verbal fight with a lot of not good language. And Mr. Wood said that that had nothing to do with the Human Relations Committee, that it was the homeless thing, not him. I asked him about, when he was at his last HRC meeting, he mentioned something about being urged not to write some stuff down. And so I asked him if what he was trying to do was to subvert 91A requests. And he said that that was not what he was talking about in the committee. He said that he didn't remember saying that, but that what he was talking about that he remembers was that they were making a position statement on the Brown shooting, and they wanted to go to a subcommittee, and he did not want to go to a subcommittee and then have to go back to the committee of the whole before the position statement was written, so he wanted them to write it there, and that's why it was being done at that time. We also brought up the fact that there were minutes and posting of meetings that hadn't been done properly in the past. There was a lady at a meeting recently who identified herself as Carol Pierce, and she talked about how, as a mayor's committee, they have not had to follow guidelines of regular committee work, and that if things didn't work, they would just keep trying it and try it again until it did work. I asked the city for the members of this committee, and most of the members of this committee have been on here since at least 2017, which were the records that I was given from the city. So I guess what I'm saying in closing is there are a lot of things on this committee that have been done inappropriately, and I think this committee itself needs some committee training. And some of these committee members have been on here for such a long time that they're used to doing things in a way that is not necessarily up to city standards. So the question that I ask this council is, if you approve them as a committee tonight, are you as a council prepared to take the heat for all the things that are going on wrong while you try to correct this committee and make it work properly? Wouldn't the better thing to be do to correct the committee and then make it a committee? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, last call.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Doug Lambert, Belknap County.
Guilford, New Hampshire.
Guilford,
Let's
New
Let's
Hampshire.
keep the residency. Thank you.
I'm going to dedicate my remarks here to Neil Young, former city councilor. I took a trip down memory lane and did some searching in my memory bank, too, and work I did with him. And he was very vocal about this committee almost since its inception. He was very concerned about how it might marginalize Laconia citizens, not ones that were kind of singled out as being people that this committee interested itself in. But I took this trip down memory lane, and it seems to me that the committee found itself with a different mission statement depending on who was the chair and who was on the committee at the time. For quite some time, they seemed to specialize in film screenings, in educational events, to educate on social issues. I believe at the last meeting, I think Councilor Bogert mentioned that he was concerned about this committee being in the job of educating people. They got involved in flag and banner policies, collaborated with the city council. To me, that would be the city council's job. The committee also organizes vigils, signage campaigns, and subcommittees for specific efforts, such as anti-discrimination awareness, which certainly isn't a bad thing, by the way. So in 2013, the Human Relations Committee supports the expansion of Medicaid addressed to our state senators and representatives. We ask that you vote for Medicaid expansion. Now, through many years and documents, they claim that they're nonpartisan, they're non-political. I would ask, how could you be more political than to, as an official committee act, addressing state senators and representatives to take a stand on a political matter? They had the Community Aspirations Petition. This goes back to 2012. I remember this quite plainly. It did cause some controversy, and part of it was because it was touched off by an event hosted and featuring the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has certainly come under fire in more recent years. Certainly not a nonpartisan group. World AIDS events. We know that they've gotten involved in the homeless situation, which, again, as I said earlier, I think the city council really needs to take the lead on that, or create, I don't know, a subcommittee of your council to take a good, hard look at that. Bottom line, it's been said earlier, there really is no mission. And to create a committee and then look for a mission after the fact, I don't see the harm in tabling this, having discussion. It's been said, well, there's only going to be one new city council member, but every new council is a new council. So I think it should be tabled, and I think people would appreciate that.
Thank you, Doug.
I appreciate the opportunity.
You have no idea how hard it is for me to sit here and not answer some of those statements you've made, but we'll do that later. But thank you, Doug.
You know how to get a hold of me. We can have a coffee.
Okay, well, we could do that.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay, oh, we got somebody else. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Fran Caraselli. I'm from Ward 6. I just got up and heard somebody behind me say, "Oh, God." I'm not one to speak publicly as a rule, and I have come late to this table. But I've come late because I've been involved in another project that has wonderful outcomes. With one of the things I noticed about the committee is that they're very welcoming of folks from out of our country coming and helping. And so what I've been involved in for the last 13 years is with a very small group. We had a Rwandan family come into our group, and I'll just give you a quick out of that. We discovered that this family was supporting 13 students in Rwanda on their income. And so over the time in discovering that, there was a group who joined forces with them and has over time gained sponsors. And now in Rwanda, there's a purpose for my telling you this. There are now 173 students who are able to go to school, being supported by individual sponsors and companies. There have been 13 units of housing. There is a church that has been built at their request, a parsonage, and now a medical clinic is being built. This is over the last 13 years. And I mention this because it's a small group who has worked within this community, brought other people on board, and these are the outcomes. Okay, the reason I mention it is because I went to the November 12th meeting at the high school to discuss to hear about what was being done about the homeless situation. And the one thing that has continued to concern me is that there wasn't I don't believe there was one person on the stage who could state outcomes of the work that has been done. And I find that troubling. To know that so much, we say federal money, state money, this is taxpayer money that is going into these programs, and to not be able to state outcomes as a taxpayer, as a United States citizen, that is really troubling to me. And so, I've probably used up my 3 minutes, but I want to say, honestly, I am just asking this you folks who are going to make the decision. Tony knows I was a part of the Parks Committee, and he knows that I don't speak much. I think a lot and I listen. I'm going to ask you, please, not to make this commission a permanent commission. I would really rather that there is a study, and never mind a study, that we would please, as a community, work together to help this problem of homelessness and addiction. If we could focus on those things as a community in small groups. The group that I work with, you know, it starts with, I don't know, I think there's probably 5 people on the board. And we've been able to accomplish a lot working with different folks. And it's something we need to do as a community. Our people are being so devastatingly affected, whether it's on the homeless side or the people who have to deal with the effects of the homeless. And I'm sorry, it's just, we've been here 50-some-odd years. And I know, Pat, you know, that the Human Relations Committee, I have to tell you honestly, I'm not familiar with everything they've done. I've seen some of it. I don't know. I can't comment on it. They're obviously people of good faith and goodwill and want to do things for our community, but this issue is so big. Please, I ask you to not make, so don't go that route.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Figure out other things.
Thank you very much.
Have I said enough? Did it make sense?
Oh, sure.
Please.
Okay, thank
Asking
you.
you to consider. Okay. Oh, and if I make one more comment.
Okay,
I
short one.
think, and I think this is really important, I don't think the taxpayers of this, the working people of these communities are being considered
Okay.
enough. Please.
Thank you. All right, last call.
I'll make it quick.
Very quick,
I'll make
please.
it real quick, I promise you.
Give us your name again.
Doug Robinson.
Thank you.
I'm gonna read you the minutes from the last HRC committee.
Wait. Listen, I don't want to interrupt, but,
It's
you know,
one
those
paragraph.
but those minutes are a matter of record now, right? Am I right? So
But
just.
they were just contradicted, and I just want to point it out.
Okay, but if you could just encourage people to read the minutes, and then they can see what the minutes tonight, if it's going to be conflicted. We just don't want this to go on and on.
I understand it. It's like 20 words.
It's like, how much?
No, thank you.
It's how long?
About 20 words. Just one paragraph.
Right to the
Martin
point.
Luther King celebration. In the event scheduled for January 18th at 2 p.m., Congregational Church, Laconia, moderator in place, music scheduled, played, blah, 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 blah. Flyers and subcommittee would like to coordinate services project as part of a volunteer week, perhaps baked goods and food for the homeless. When that was stated by Mike, it was then contradicted by Pat Ward, who's actually the committee chair. How does the committee chair stand up here and not even know his own minutes?
I don't know.
Thank you.
I suggest you ask him that. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. We'll close the public hearing at 7:43. Thank you all very much. We have so much planned for tonight. Yes, go ahead. Did you have something you wanted to say? No?
Well,
Yeah, I know what you want to say, but
I didn't know if you were gonna move that up or
Well,
not.
you-
It's up to you. It's your call. You guys go.
I don't know.
We don't have to.
No, I think we'll just go if people, if it's important. All right, so we're going to go now to, there's no interviews, no nominations, we've done the public hearing, we've done the presentation. We're at the mayor's report. So I just want to go over a few things here. This is going to be my last city council meeting as the mayor. So I just want to cover a few things that have gone on, both in the news, public hearings, and in the 4 months I've been doing this. There's been a lot of questions about people not doing anything, or the city council, our present city council not making decisions because there's a new mayor coming in, and potentially a new council with two new members. But I just want to remind everybody, in case they're not aware of it, the council and the mayor are elected to a two-year position. It starts on one day and ends 2 years later. So I don't think it's right to expect any councilors that are here now or previous in the last few months to not do the job that they're elected to do. That's just how I feel about it, and I think that's the new mayor and the new council will start in January, and they'll be here a full 2 years, and that's how it's written, and that's how it's supposed to be. I also want to just say how great it is to not have a partisan type council here. When I look at my fellow councilors, and when I'm sitting in the audience where you are out there now, I look at my councilors as members of representing their wards in the city, not a Democratic Party, not a Republican Party, not whatever party you want to come up with. And I think that's a great thing. So when people start throwing that around, I know they're doing a disservice to the citizens of Laconia and to the very members that sit up here at this table. So try to keep that in mind in the next couple of years and for the next 10 years. I also want to comment about protocol at this meeting. Now, I know that one of our citizens out there likes to wear his hat up here, and I guess that's his call. But at some point, we got to have rules, because where do we draw the line? Can this council say, well, it's the citizens' right to do what they want to do, but what happens if somebody comes up here with a tutu on, or just a bathing suit, or whatever? Does the council have the right to say, yes, citizen, you have freedom of choice and you're free to do what you want, but this council has a right to set rules for this room. Just like any business does, when they put a sign up on the door and say, no shirts, no shoes, no service, or whatever. I mean, that's the right of this council. And I don't know what the new council is going to do. Maybe nothing. Maybe just leave it open to whatever. But that's just something to think about. I don't think it's unreasonable to have protocol. I'd also like to encourage our local newspaper, the editors or who's ever in charge of the information that goes into that paper, especially in the letters, to have some verification to go on, to verify some of the information that people write about. Stuff that this council has done, or they say it's been done, or things like that. Buzzwords, the midnight meetings, the 2 a.m. meetings, secret meetings, whatever. When letters go into the paper like that, I would think that the paper's editors would say, upon further investigation, we can find nothing like that has happened. And I think they were doing a service to their readers. Just my opinion here. I also want to talk about the committees that we do have. We've got a planning board, we've got a historical district board, we've got many different boards. I hope that the incoming council and mayor pay attention to some of the things that some developers would like to do in our city. Laconia is known for what we have here. It's a great tourist destination. It's a great water destination. It's a great, it's just got so many different things. So I encourage our incoming council and mayor to pay attention to what some of the people would like to do to our city. We've got some big plans coming up at the state school, but I would hate to see the waterfront of our area turn into Salisbury Beach. Not that Salisbury Beach is bad, but when you go down there, you can barely see the ocean anymore because everything is built up so high. And I think that would be a detriment to our city. We don't want to lose what we have. We really have, we've got some great stuff here. We're very lucky to grow up in Laconia. I love Laconia, and I know most of our citizens do, and we should think about that. And I want to give a shout out again to the departments, to our police, our fire department, the public works, all of the departments that make this city function and move along. They do a great job. We all have our gripes. I gripe about traffic lights not working right. Others gripe about the condition of the roads. But those are things that will come along as time, and if you don't have if you're not happy about it, come here to the city council meetings and voice your complaints, or go to the city manager's office, or reach out to your counselors. And I hope that a lot of you are here tonight will keep coming to the meetings and not just watch them on YouTube, or not just write letters to the paper to gripe about things without following it up on that. I want to also say that it's been an honor and a pleasure to sit here in this seat. I hope I've done a good job. I hope I haven't irritated too many people, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to still be involved with the city council and city government. And I think that's a great thing. And I just thought of one other thing I wanted to encourage our council and new mayor to do, and that is to look hard at forming an events department. You know, we have the Pumpkin Fest. The city took it over. They did a great job. We have Motorcycle Week. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm not going to be around forever. And that's a very important event. We've lost events, the Coffee Festival, all these different things. I'd love to see the sled dog races start right down here in the corner of Hanover and Main Street again. If some of you may recall, the reason that stopped, and when they moved it up to a Peachy Park and then further out from that, was because some people cried about snow being put on the road, and oh my gosh, people are going to have to drive around it. Well, we've shown that with Motorcycle Week, we've shown that with Pumpkin Fest, we've shown that with the Coffee Festival and other such things, that you can close streets off, and you can mitigate that, and it's good for everybody. So I didn't want to forget that about a real, truly independent events department to work on that stuff. I think that's about covers it. But again, thank you all very much, and I want to thank my fellow councilors for dealing with me, and you too, Katie. So thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to council comments. Councilor Cheney.
I know this comes as a surprise, Mr. Mayor. If I may, I'd like a moment, perhaps a little more than a moment. You all know me, so you know it's going to take more than a moment. To thank the residents of Ward 1 for their allowing me the privilege of serving as their ward councilor for the past 8 years. I'd also like to thank the members of this and previous councils I've served with for their nonpartisan willingness to work through issues to arrive at what we believe was the best for our constituents. Over 8 years, I've never once seen a councilor vote on anything for personal gain, out of animus, or to allow a petty criticism to affect their decision on any matter. Finally, I'd like to thank our city manager, Kurt Beatty, for everything he has done to assure this council did things right. I've told the story many times of how I hesitated to vote for Fire Chief Beatty as our new city manager, probably because as a former police chief, I wasn't sure a fireman could do much of anything beyond make great spaghetti dinners.
But they're good dinners.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't, I wasn't sure, I'm sorry. It was the single biggest mistake of my professional career. And I should add, I've since learned that our firefighters are a hardworking, first-class group of men and women. As it turns out, of all the city managers I've worked with here in Laconia, and for that matter, the managers around the state I worked with while director of 911, Kirk Beatty is one of the best managers in the state of New Hampshire. The people of Laconia are lucky and should rest easier knowing Kirk has their back. Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of other comments about the suggestions of non-transparency, poor road maintenance, budget handling, and questions about Human Rights Committee, and of course, homelessness. I assure every resident of the city that the councils I've worked with have been more transparent than most public bodies I've worked with in my 50-plus year career in public service. Every council meeting I've attended was open to the public, televised on Facebook during the meeting, and available at any later date on Facebook. And finally, written minutes are kept and copies are available to the public. Meetings closed to the public because a state statute requires it, have minutes kept, and those minutes will be published and available in a set amount of time, usually once the privacy of the matter can no longer hurt someone or give them an unfair economic advantage in any issue. Poor roads. Well, the roads in Laconia are intended to be made passable within the budget constraints we have. It helps if you notify Public Works of problems so they can be fixed as soon as possible, keeping in mind that total repairs can be very costly. As an aside, my wife and I recently spent a few days in Newport, Rhode Island, one of the wealthiest towns in New England, if not the country. And the one thing we both commented on was the fact the roads were nowhere near as good as Laconia's, despite the fact they have money rolling out their ears. Budget, handling, and taxes. Laconia has maintained its budget within the constraints of a 2% tax cap, as required by our citizens' vote to establish the cap. Laconia has done that every year I have been on the council. I've had several folks complain about their tax bill going up substantially, and I'm sure that's true, but their increases beyond the 2% is due to state-mandated reappraisals every 5 years. I would put the value of services we receive per tax dollar up against every city and most towns in the state. Our manager and department heads deserve a lot of credit for the level of service they are able to provide within the 2% tax cap. As it pertains to the possibility to vote for a Human Rights Committee by ordinance, I would suggest to folks who have expressed concerns about how the mayor appointed the committee in the past that a committee created by ordinance has all the controls they want to see, including council appointment of the committee members and council approval of the mission statement and specific areas of activity. If, in fact, the new council, for any reason, doesn't like the committee that may be created, they can remove it. Last but not least, homelessness. If any of the folks who have expressed such significant concern about the homeless problem, I'd be forced to ask where they have been these past 8 years with suggestions about how to fix the problem. Downtown has substantially reduced issues related to homeless. Rotary Park is now a park for all of us, and every report of camping on private property has been dealt with by the police department expeditiously. Encampment on public property are cleared as soon as identified, keeping in mind that there is a difference between city and state property in terms of enforcement. The city cannot enforce homelessness issues on state land. I'd like to end this, perhaps too long, comment by reminding people I was elected for 2 years, not 1 year, 11 months. Tonight I will review issues and vote on them in the manner I believe the majority of my constituents would prefer. I wish the next council and especially the incoming mayor, my very best. And I hope they are able to improve all the things they see as needing improvements. Good luck. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Bogert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a few comments I would like to make concerning a few counselors that I've had the honor to serve with. Bruce Cheney, when I was first appointed, going on thereabouts a half years, you took me under your wing. You taught me things about the city, about Laconia in particular, that other people have not taken the time to do. I deeply appreciate it. You have shown your public service. You've been a Marine, which is an honorable position. You have served the council, the city, forever, at least in my terms. You have been a police officer in 2 towns. You've been a police chief in 2 towns. And then specifically, Laconia, I do believe, for 13 years. You were the director of the New Hampshire Division of Emergency Management. You helped and gave personal direction on setting up something that New Hampshire has taken for granted, which is a 911 system. And your due diligence in doing that has showed and paid off for New Hampshire. We have a building being constructed. Forgive me. You have done nothing but been honorable in all your decisions that you've made for this city, for the best part of this city. And I personally would like to thank you for the work you've done.
Thank you.
Tony, we don't always see eye to eye, but you know what? You have served this city with your best, most honorable intentions. And that is all one can ask for. When there was a parade it needed, who was there? Tony. The children's auction, Tony. Anything that had to do with the social aspects of our city, who was there? Tony. And he gave freely of his time, in spite of all the rhetoric and stuff like that. He too has been an extremely honorable person in trying to fulfill the needs and stuff for this city. And I'm honored to have served with you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Counselor.
I would like to thank you also. In my going on 2.5 years of being a city councilor, you are the mayor who made me feel part of this council. You have addressed me appropriately. You have done everything. Doesn't mean we had to agree, and probably didn't, but you never have taken it out against me. You have allowed me that freedom to have a conversation as you do now, and you don't realize what that means to a person when they are treated as an equal part of a city council. And I want to thank you, and it's been an honor to serve with you.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you very much. Counselor Felch?
Yeah, it's been my honor to serve the citizens of Ward 6 and the rest of the city. It's been my honor to work with this council here. Every one of you have been great to work with. The city manager, couldn't ask for a better city manager. Glenn, Katie, the entire staff in the city, Public Works, Parks and Rec, Fire Department, Police Department, City Hall. We've got a great, great city here and a lot of great people that work here. And I'm going to make mine really short by saying everything Councilor Cheney said, 100%. I agree with everything he said, and this is a great city. Thank you, everybody.
That's the first time.
Probably so. No. Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Any other council comments? I'm just going to throw this out. I want to remind people that we have the inauguration on January 5th, and that'll be at the Mill,
O'clock at the Mill.
and that's at
6 o'clock at the Mill.
6 o'clock at the Mill. Now, that won't be a full council meeting, but that, obviously, everybody should be there that can make it. And I also want to put, now you've already seen it's here tonight, Mike Conit's here, John Hildreth, Councilor-elect from Ward 1, and you saw Mayor-elect Boards who has left the room. So good to see them all here tonight, too. Okay, we're going to move on now to new business, and this is 21A. This is an authorization for boat.
You missed a bunch of things.
I did miss a, oh, I did. Moving along. You're right. Any committee reports tonight?
Government ordinance and operations met. Same conversations that have transpired over the last 2 months. I know I'm being vague, but we've heard from the same characters, we've heard the same stuff,
And this is about?
And we did meet with legal counsel. There was some recommendations from legal counsel.
But this is about what? You didn't say what you, did I miss it, what you were met
I'm
about?
talking about
Human Relations Committee?
Human Relations.
Okay, thank you.
So, we did hear from legal counsel. We did take under advisement what legal counsel have to say, and that's what's going to be presented later on.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, no appointments tonight. Liaison reports from anybody? Okay, you're right, I did move right along. Okay, we have citizens' request to comment on current agenda items. Okay, seeing none, we'll move into, boy, I skipped right over you too, didn't I?
You missed basically a whole page, which was a, that's okay, I'm
The
gonna.
city manager's report.
I'll be very quick tonight as well.
Whatever
No,
you
I
gotta
will
do.
be. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make a comment to thank Councilor Cheney for those kind words, and certainly enjoyed working with you over the last little over 3 years. Same with you, Councilor Felch. Both of you, all of you as councilors, are not afraid to call me or to stop in and say, hey, I got the suggestion or idea or concern or complaint, whatever side of that is. But you two are both very active in that, and I certainly, it makes my job easier. And then same with you, Mr. Mayor, in the short time, you weren't afraid to stop into my office and chat.
Nor shall I be in the future.
No, but I can say no now, right? 'Cause that's, no, and it's been great. You know, all joking aside, it makes my job easier when I know, you know, what you're thinking as individuals, not, you know, it certainly makes it easier.
And your other half in the office is also a great tribute to you. She makes you look very good most of the time.
She makes me look very good, yes. No, I
That-
appreciate,
that would be
and I don't
Nancy.
hide that fact.
That would be-
I don't hide that at all.
Just in case people don't know who we're talking about, Nancy.
Nancy, yeah,
Yes,
I don't
Nancy
hide,
Brown.
I don't hide that at all. The only thing I want to mention, the project updates is in the packet. If you have any questions about it, I'd be glad to answer it. The only thing I do want to mention on it is, it's on the third page of my document, the Winnipesaukee River Basin project. As you recall, under your advisement, we sent out a letter. We signed on to a letter with the other 9 communities that make up the Winnipesaukee River Basin program, in conjunction with the LSR, which is now a House bill, with the concern of the way the capital improvement program for the Winnipesaukee River Basin was funding. We believe we were being charged too much because the calculation we believed to be wrong. That letter has got the attention of the DES Commissioner for the state. He has been working with the advisory board for the Winnipesaukee River Basin, which we're one of 10 communities. We have a representative to it. Wes Anderson is our representative to it. He has reached out wanting a meeting with the committee, with their public meetings. The date hasn't been set yet. We're shooting for the mid-January. And it's to kind of see where that direction goes. So hopefully, again, just as a reminder, the whole goal of this is to make sure, we certainly don't have a problem paying into the system to make sure the capital improvement program is correct, or is taken care of with the sewer system. But we want to make sure that it's being calculated correctly and that we're not overpaying just to dump a bunch of money into a potential future capital improvement program. So a lot of work going on. The timing is great for it. I'm glad obviously it's in LSR and then in House bill, so it has to be now. But certainly as we build out our budget for FY27, seeing this conversation starting early is really a positive. So I'm glad to see that happening.
Quickly, I have a question. Will Wes continue to be on that?
Yeah, at this point, yes. Certainly with an interim, I've asked Wes to stay handling the Winnipesaukee River Basin and liaisoning with Council Bogart as Representative Bogart. But moving forward after that, once we are able to hire Wes's replacement, he'll probably stay very active in that role because it's so the details are so finite that his knowledge is going to be very important during this time when you guys are working at the state level.
Okay, great.
So, any questions on this? I'm glad to answer, but otherwise, that's all I'm going to report out tonight so we can continue the meeting.
Okay. And Wes knows that, right?
Yes, he does. Yeah. We may chat once in a while.
Thank you, Kirk. Boy. I must have been so excited to get to new business. Now we're on to new business. This is 21A, authorization for boat dealers to act as agents for the city of Laconia. Kirk?
This one's Katie's.
Oh, okay.
The last time I cut you off, so I want to make sure.
Okay, so tonight I'm asking for your authorization for I think there's 7 dealers that are listed. It is Flightcraft General, Northwater Marine, Watermark Marine, Paugus Bay Marine, Lakeport Landing, Irwin Marine, and Winnisquam Marine. And what you're doing is you're giving them authorization to act as boat agents for us, to register boats at their facilities, and then they turn over the monies to us. So last year, we received approximately $101,000 in.
How much?
$101,000 from those
Okay.
entities. So they just have to get reapproval every year.
Let's see.
So moved.
All right, I'm going to make a motion. Any more discussion? Councilor Susi?
Is this the same list that was last year, or has there some been removed?
It is the same.
Same?
It's the same list as last year.
Councilor Felch?
So Winnisquam Marine, that includes all of their locations? I know they have 4 or 5 now.
It only includes the location in Laconia. So if they do registrations in Belmont or Tilton, that money would go to those communities.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm going to move to approve the renewal of the boat agent agreement between the State of New Hampshire DMV and the Laconia City, the City of Laconia and boat dealers as presented. Look for a motion. Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Cheney. All in favor? Is that everybody? Councilor Bogart. Okay, that was 6 in the affirmative, thank you. Now I'll move to authorize the city clerk to sign the boat agent agreement on behalf of the city of Laconia. I look for a motion of that. Councilor Hoffman, seconded by Councilor Bogart. All in favor? That's 6 in the affirmative, thank you. Okay. Now we're going to go to 21B. This is a request to schedule 2 public hearings for the Community Development Block Grant, Belknap House Emergency Sewer Project.
So what this is, the Belknap House down on Court Street has a sewer line that has a leak in it. It coming from the road. It has had a temporary repair, but it's not going to be sustainable. So they need to replace their line. The Community Development Block Grant money is federal HUD money that comes in through the states through the Community Development Finance Authority with the state. And municipalities are eligible to receive the money. We're just a pass-through for the projects that go on within the city. We've done things like the Boys and Girls Club. We've done stuff with the senior center. This is emergency money, which has, when we talk to the state, apparently the emergency money is very rarely tapped into. Where this is a shelter, it should fit what their requirements are. So what they're looking for is up to $100,000. They're still finalizing exactly what they need. They're getting quotes and doing all that because it does increase what they have to do as far as receiving their quotes or bids on the project. To that is going to include we hired an administrator to handle that. It's private. It's not part of the city. They technically work through us and receive the funding. It's Dawn Elaine, who you see come to all the meetings and have she'll do the public hearings with us. But the city's the one that technically has to receive the money, and then it's passed through to the agency. So what these are looking for is there's 2 motions. One is to schedule a public hearing to apply for and then accept this money if it's approved. The second one is all the any public hearing or any receiving of money also have a public hearing about relocation of people. So if you were going to be doing a project within an apartment building or something like that, you would have to say, what are you going to do with the people that are moving out? Historically, we don't do many of these in residential. They're generally, like I said, the Boys and Girls Club or something like that, where there is no relocation, although we have to have the public hearing. This one, there is a possibility that they may have to relocate for a couple days if they have no sewer, so that'll be part of the public hearing. So these 2 motions are just to send to a public hearing. And then, like I said, we'll have our administrative rep that does these for us. Will be but speaking at the public hearings and giving all the details as needed.
Thank you. Councilor Bogart?
Just a question on the second portion of the motion on the displacement and stuff. They do have a plan, and it's going to spell out in that plan who pays for this if there's a dislocation?
Yeah, that would be part of this money, is what that's why that's another reason why it's not a finalized dollar amount yet. They're hoping they don't have to, but if it does, they'll most likely end up having to relocate to a hotel for a day or 2 while this gets done, and that was all factored into there.
And that would be, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
follow up. And as indicated, that would be part of the grant money?
Yeah, no money from us.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Haynes?
Thank you, Mayor. Kurt, I might be getting ahead of myself, but does that impact Court Street, or is that going to be Pearl Street?
I believe it's Pearl Street. I
Okay,
think it comes off that side.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to move to schedule a public hearing on January 12th, 2026, during the regular city council meeting regarding a proposed application to the Community Development Finance Authority for up to $100,000 in CDBG public facility funds. Of the grant funds, up to $15,000 will be retained by the city for administrative labor compliance costs associated with the project. Up to $100,000 of the funds will be sub-granted to the Belknap House, a family shelter located at 200 Court Street for emergency repairs, replacement of the sewer line servicing the building. The shelter serves low and moderate income persons. Look for a motion.
So moved.
Councilor Susie, second. Councilor Felch, any discussion? All in favor? That's 6 in the affirmative, thank you. I'll now move to schedule a public hearing on January 12th, 2026, during the regular city council meeting regarding the anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan for the Belknap House Emergency Sewer Project. Look for motion on that. Councilor Phelps, second. Councilor Hoffman. Any discussion? All in favor? That's 6 in the affirmative. Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to go to unfinished business. This is 22A. This is ordinance 2025-20, 5-32, 5-33, amending Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 3, Boards and Commissions, the Human Relations Committee.
I move to take it off the table.
Okay, there's been a motion to take it off the table. I need a second for that.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Haynes. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So that's 5-1. Thank you. Okay. So we're open for discussion here. Councilor Susie.
I have a number of items I'd like to bring up concerning this. The first is, with some of the comments I've heard this evening, come from people who have identified themselves from being outside the city of Laconia. And they're talking about this, the vote, or whatever direction we're gonna take has been retaliatory. I find that to be really, really off the wall. And, I mean, I listen to the people who are citizens of Laconia, not the taxpayers, okay? And that is way off the wall. There's not been retaliatory at all. I don't know where it all came from. If everybody wants to listen to the garbage that you read on social media, or the letters that end up being published in the Sun that have no truth to them whatsoever, go right ahead. But that's not how I base my facts.
So go,
sorry?
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Secondly, if we don't move ahead with something like this, I'm pretty sure, and I have no basis for this, or this might be where it happens, that group is going to turn around and form their own 501(c) and be able to do whatever they wish with no city oversight at all. So, regardless of what the mission statement says or whatever it is like that, I mean, that's what'll end up happening. Okay, this group was put together, as if you look at the Sun this week, and hopefully that was correct. You'll see there was an article 25 years ago. This was put together by Mayor
Leahy.
Leahy.
Was put together by Mayor Leahy for a number of people because of the incoming new residents we were going to have coming through with Chief Baker of the police department at the time. And I understand the reason why they did it. I think we should have the Human Relations Committee, I really do. But I also think it should go through the government operations to set the mission statement or whatever the guidelines are. Thirdly, it says in here, in the thing that we're looking at, that'll be made by one member appointed by the manager, 2 members appointed by the mayor, okay, 9 members by the city council, but also says members who own property, reside, or manage, represent a business within the city. I'm offensive. I don't like that at all. I think every member of that board, whatever it is, should be a taxpayer of the city of Laconia, not somebody else making decisions for them. We should have the committee, but it should be compromised by everybody who's paying taxes here in Laconia, or somebody paying taxes through their rent or anything else like that. Not made by anybody else. I'm tired of listening from people coming outside. Belknap County, for example, has a number of properties in this city that we support as taxpayers. All the other taxpayers in the city of Laconia pay the taxes for those buildings. They all support towns outside the city, and we get nothing. It's about time the city of Laconia stands up for itself.
Can I just ask you a question, Counselor? If would you say that a person that owns a business property in the city, they're gonna be paying taxes in
Where
the
are they
city?
resident? They could be a resident of Massachusetts
That's
or
true.
North Carolina.
But that's true, but I'm just asking, so you would not include, in your mind, somebody that owns property, does business here, but perhaps lives out of the city?
It should be a person who lives here. They're the ones who
Okay, so
have
not
their
just
thumb on what's
taxpayers,
going on.
not just taxpayers.
Not just
but
they have to live here also.
They have to be a resident, okay.
Right, in other words, let's take a look at the law that we have for, short-term rentals. They're gonna be 6 months and 1 day. Same situation, okay? The last thing I'd like to bring up is the fact that, as was mentioned, okay, to come back, when I look here and I see this, we want to send it back to government operations to do the mission statement. Well, okay, so let's say we don't know what that committee's gonna, who's gonna make up that committee, how long it's gonna take. It could take months to come up with that statement. As long as there's a statement there that gives us the outlines of what's it gonna do. There's no taxpayer funds going to this committee whatsoever, none that I know of. Is there, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager?
The committee does have a line in the budget for, I believe it's $2,000.
I have no idea what it would be for, but.
And I don't know, honestly, I'd have to go back and look to see if it's ever even been spent out of that money, but we put it in each
Right,
year.
and then whatever the Government Operations Committee, and who knows who's gonna be on it, okay, comes up for the guidelines and everything else is gonna be part of that mission statement, or whatever you wanna call it, fine. But I think we gotta really take a look at being the people of Laconia. I agree to have the committee. I think it's a good thing to have, because if not to have it, means we're throwing everything under the bus. I think it's a good thing to have, but it's gotta have the guidelines done by that, it's gotta go to that committee first. I mean, if
And that'll be
it's out
set-
on the motion, I would say, sure, we took it off the table, but like, we're asking here, it should go to government operations to get that done.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Counselor. Anybody else? Counselor?
Yeah,
Yates?
I agree with Councilor Susie. However, we were advised by our city attorney that we need to look at our rules and regulations of how the council is conducted as far as people from
that committee.
outside. I agree with you. They have no place here.
Kirk, you want to say something? You
Well,
look like you're gonna
yeah,
say
I mean,
something.
I'd like to just reference what he's talking about, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
because I just summarized a few things from the subcommittee meeting the other night, but also I did have follow-up with the attorneys. We didn't get it till today. I have submitted this to the record. If you can follow along in the ordinance. A had they didn't have any issues with A. B, when that was talked about, there were questions, and what I put in here for the couple of questions, only, I think, 3 questions on here. It is not related to the public comments. You've heard all those. These came up at the meeting that night. They were just some questions that came up at the subcommittee meeting. B, which relates to who appoints members. There was a question about whether or not I should have or the city manager's role, not I, should have a member selection. And there was also talked about, but there was no real discussion on, to the best of my recollection, recommendation by Human Relations Committee that the school board should have a selection into this. That might adjust your numbers a little bit, but that got brought up. Under C, comprise the members. This, in conjunction with what Councilor Susie was saying, there was also a question about if we were gonna leave business in there, defining business profit, not-for-profit, or if the committee should have any members outside Laconia. That came up. Again, nothing was finalized, it was really, but other than to continue the conversation on that. And the last thing I'd just like to mention, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to read this into record. And Katie does have a copy of this, because we didn't get it until today, just timing-wise. Under D, it talks about, the first thing it talks about in there is the Human Relations Committee will create policies, procedures, and the council will, I'm paraphrasing now, the council will approve that. I know that had a lot of concern at the beginning, that it should go the other way around. It should be, the council driving the bus, and then, and still bringing it back here. So I'd like to just read in legal's, I drafted some language, they added and made some adjustments to it, and this is what their recommendation is, if we were to go with this ordinance. Under D, the city council's government operations and ordinances subcommittee shall create a human relations committee purpose statement to identify the purpose of the subcommittee, as well as to delineate its manner of operations, which shall be approved by the city council prior to adoption. The purpose statement will be reviewed by legal counsel prior to approval by the full city council. As the Human Relations Subcommittee operates at the behest of the city council with no independent authority, the purpose statement shall be reviewed and ratified by the city council every 3 years after adoption. So those things that those questions, and then that would be what you'd want to consider if you were going to move this forward tonight.
Mr. Mayor, question?
Councilor Susi?
The only question I want to have just definition of, it was mentioned earlier by someone. So let's say does the subcommittee, the Operations and Government Committee, turn around and say to the HRC, let's say, you can have the Martin Luther King Day, you can have the Multicultural Festival, but we want you to come back to us if you're gonna have anything that's citywide. Okay, I mean, how defined?
Not to cut, but yes, that would be,
That has to come back
that
to
would
us.
be the new government operations and ordinance subcommittee's building of their purpose and mission
And
statement.
it would be the HRC people to determine who's gonna be their chairman, vice chairman, all that kind of stuff. Right? But it comes
Yes,
under-
yeah.
Now, what I'm trying to do is say it comes under the oversight of the city council, not like that be a splinter off organization doing, setting up their own 501(c)(3).
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You stop quick. Councilor Hoffman?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think, especially with the change to letter D, I think it addresses a concern, but I think what's before us addresses all of the legitimate concerns that people had about the Human Relations Committee. So I understand people's hesitation with, I guess, doing this in December, but this really puts the approval of the mission statement and the appointments into the next council. So I think it's a good idea.
Thank you. Councilor Bogert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In reflecting on the events over the last several months, these are some of the thoughts I came up with. The formation of a committee is one of the most important decisions the city council can make. The committee shall serve a defined purpose. Defined purpose. If we look at each of our current boards, we would see that they serve a distinct, defined purpose. They all fulfill a statutory need for the city by reviewing applications or requests for various actions by the citizens of Laconia. As citizens have First Amendment rights to speak their minds, government voice is based on current law and city councilors' interpretation of the laws based on the advice of the city attorney. So each committee that is formed must abide by the rule of law, and its voice is the reflection of government speech, not their interpretation. As the city of Laconia and all of its departments, boards, and commissions operate under federal, state, and local laws, RSAs, and ordinance, where every citizen is already treated equally and with respect. The formation of a Human Relations Committee would indicate that the city of Laconia does not operate within federal, state, and local laws or treat its citizenry equally. As stated, each current committee or board has a purpose that fulfills a particular statutory need for the citizens it serves. Form a new committee that has no purpose, which I haven't heard, is a committee in search of a problem. Remember that famous quote. Let's pass this so we can see what its purpose is. Therefore, this item should be tabled until the city council has a chance to define its purpose and then set up how it will operate. And Mr. Mayor, that is a motion
What's the motion?
to table.
Okay, but before I get to that, can you tell me who said that quote?
Nancy Pelosi said that quote to the Affordable Care Act.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's been a motion made to table this topic again. Is there a second to that? Seeing none, the motion dies for lack of a second. Thank you, Counselor.
I'd like to make one more comment, please, Mr. Mayor.
Counselor Susie.
Okay, and Councilor Bogarts, I understand what you were going through and everything else like that. I think what I'm trying to get to, me personally, I'd like to see us send it to the committee, have the committee come up with something. It's gonna, who knows who's gonna be on the committee, how it's gonna be addressed. It's gonna come back through the next council. Let me finish, please. Okay?
I am.
It's gonna come back through the next council and be rewritten probably 10 times, okay? But here is a way for us to make sure it gets acted upon instead of dying and never come forth and giving the group an opportunity to bypass the city. This way here, we're gonna bring it under city review or city ordinance, whatever way you wanna call it. I think it's the right way to go that way. That way there, the city maintains control.
Isn't
I may-
that, but wait a minute, before, Counselor, if you could bear with me a second. If I recall right, when this all came up 2 or 3 meetings ago, there was a complaint about this committee not following rules, minutes, things like that. And the suggestion was made to make it a city committee so that that oversight would be there. And if I recall, Katie can maybe back me up on this. If I recall, I think the suggestion was made by you, Councilor Susie, and if I recall, Councilor Borger, you said that's a good idea. So that's
If I
all.
may,
Sure, please.
the question was raised because of the city council's rules of procedures did not support the mayor making reappointments to a committee, to a mayor's committee. There was no rules in here, and the question was discussed, and Councilor Hoffman brought up that would making a committee help solve some of these problems. And I agreed with the fact that it could solve some problems. But the question was posed to the city manager to come back with all options available to deal with the situation. And the option that came back was, let's make it a committee, period. So for the record, that was it. Now,
So are you gonna respond now to Councilor Susie?
I still have not seen or heard a purpose for this committee. Everybody's talking about this committee deserves an opportunity, this committee this committee that, but no one on the council or anywhere has told me what is the purpose of starting this committee. All they're saying is, well, they could form a committee of their own. Well, anybody can form a committee of their own. We can't change that fact. That is their God-given right to make a committee if they want to. And if they're not happy with the city council, they can make their 501(c)(3). Who cares? There's a
Well,
lot of them out there.
You know, when you say you don't know what the committee's purpose is or what they've been doing, you know, I haven't paid 1,000% attention to this committee in the last 25 years, but I know enough about it with that, even with that lack of attention, to know what they have been doing. Because when I see things happening in a city, whether it's a celebration of this or that, or putting on this or that, their name pops up as the group that's behind it. So so I definitely know what they've been doing, and other than people complaining about some of the things that they're promoting, I have not seen an enraged mobs of citizens, coming up and saying, this is outrageous, we gotta get to the bottom of this. Most people, quite frankly, most people aren't paying attention to that. Most people will pay attention to different things that go on. But again, other than just recently, I've not heard people, beating their heads against the wall saying, what in God's name is going on now?
And you're correct. They've been doing the multicultural, and they've been doing the MLK.
So you admit you know some of the stuff they do.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I do. But we also have other committees that do that. We have Parks and Recs, who does all of our Pumpkin Fest now. We have Pumpkin Fest and stuff like that. So could this committee not be just as equally called an events committee? Then it has a purpose.
No, that, to me, in my mind, that's totally different. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to Councilor Susie?
Nope.
Okay. Councilor Susie?
Right, when you talk about earlier about people not raising up, I remember a person who was here earlier, I think he's gone now, getting up and making a comment that the committee, as it is today, okay, was too far left. Okay, I could tell you right now, that's one of the things that really ticked me off in this whole operations of government in this city, is that we are nonpartisan and what is best for the city of Laconia. And somebody make a comment like that, as far as I'm concerned, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Number two, okay, when it comes to, let me ask you this. The committee itself was formed 25 years ago by Matt Leahy, okay? But it was formed as, whatever it was formed at. Is it continuation, or is it already dead, or has it not been reestablished by the mayor or whatever else like that? Is this a continuing thing with the same people on it?
Well, it won't be now with oversight from the council.
So as of this time now, let's say we're sending it back to government operations to review it and everything else like that, the committee as it is it dissolved?
I looked at Kirk for that.
Generally, with any position like this, a committee, if it doesn't, if it's not reappointed, for committees like you're talking about, like this, if it's not reappointed, they don't just dissolve immediately. I forget which committee we just dealt with this on. It was a different committee. We ran into the same problem. It doesn't just go away.
I'm just wondering what's keeping this moving forward, that's all. The committee.
25 years of not being, that's,
Understood.
I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's
what's
the
happening.
truth.
Okay.
Councilor Hoffman, you raising your hand?
I just want to make the point that, people keep mentioning that they don't have a policy or mission statement, and we did ask them for a mission statement, which they did provide. And I guess another point I want to make is that, I think a lot of people are upset at the Human Relations Committee tackling the issue of homelessness, and I think the city's strategy in response to homelessness should come from the council, not a subcommittee of a subcommittee or a mayor's committee.
Agreed.
That's something we should be working on, not delegating to other committees. That's all, thank you.
Councilor Cheney?
I'd like to point out to Councilor Bogart that, or ask him if he can tell me, sitting there, what the purpose statement was for the committee assignment. What's your committee?
Appointments?
Appointments.
Appointments committee. We approved it, and there was nothing. Nothing. We all knew what was gonna happen, but, I mean, he could technically, I suppose, come up with all sorts of crazy things. So the only thing I'm trying to point out to you, Steve, Councilor Bogart, is this isn't the first committee that was ever appointed or created that wasn't built afterwards.
Councilor Bogart?
If I may respond, those committees that were being spoke of are made up of city councilors, not general public. And so therefore, they did serve a purpose of appointments to planning boards and zoning boards and historical societies and stuff like that. There were not outside people being appointed to some of these committees to select other people. Now, if I may, on the question of the timing of this committee, and if I can refer to City Council Rules and Procedures, Rule 24, under B, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, it's the last statement in it. Special council committees shall sunset at the end of their mission, but no later than the end of each calendar year unless specifically continued by a council thereafter for a specific time period.
Can I stop you right there? Did you say special committee?
Yes, I did. And then under section K, sub-item 2, it says city study committees created according to section A shall sunset at the end of their mission, but no later than the each of calendar year unless specifically continued by the council thereby a specific time period. So basically what they're saying is if they were formed properly under this document, which is our guiding guidelines, they would have had a sole purpose, in which case that sole purpose was to help incorporate a group of people into our society based on a request and a mayor. The mayor created the committee. By all rights, the committee should have died at the end of that year or the completion of that mission. And it was continued and continued for 25 years outside of the rules. And now everybody's going, they served a purpose. Well, I don't remember a mayor ever saying, I'm going to continue this committee. So, based on these things, under the rules and operations that we all operate under, theoretically, if it is determined that this committee is acted, these people are done.
Okay, well, I guess we're answering that by potentially starting the committee, a city committee. So I understand your concerns about the last 25 years with that document.
Oh, I have
but-
no concern because you can't change the past.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Councilor Felch.
So yeah, I just want to go over a couple of things that were brought up by the city manager. As far as the city manager appointing a member, our city manager runs this city. I wholeheartedly believe he should appoint somebody. It's one of 13 people. As far as the school board, I don't think we need to designate a spot for the school board, but I have no problem with somebody from the school board that lives in Laconia if they want to apply for that position and be appointed.
Doesn't everybody in the school board have to live in Laconia?
The school board?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, well, you said
So-
if they live
well,
in Laconia.
Okay.
Okay.
Getting picky on me.
Well,
School department.
As far as the business, I think if that business owner owns the property that they have a business in, and they live in Laconia, or even if they don't live in
no,
Laconia.
he said,
but
right, you're talking about
They're,
if they.
they're
not-
paying taxes if they own the building. It's a little different if you're talking about a business that rents the property. But if that business owner owns that property, and maybe you limit it to just one, so the businesses have some say. That's what I'm saying. And definitely on D, everything the city manager read, that's in red here, definitely has to go into it. And it even says, Human Relations Committee purpose statement to identify the purpose of the subcommittee. So that will come about. The attorney said it doesn't need to be done before the committee is a committee. So when the motion is made, those are where I'm at with all of those.
What's that? Say that again?
If the motion's made.
Oh, I thought you were making it.
Because all this stuff in red, I believe we need to come to a decision before we make the motion.
I got one more thing, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilor Susie.
I know that Patrick Wood gave everybody, I think, the chairman of the committee, Mark, I think that he gave you what his mission statement was, or his thing like that, and I think he we presented that to legal, and a lot of it kind of got thrown out.
Yeah, that will be
That's true.
reformed by the
Right, and then the subcommittees, right, the lawyer looked at a lot of what Mr. Wood put together and threw that out and said, he's gotta do this, this, and that.
Right,
So
all that's
I
gonna
think the
be done
subcommittee
by-
now has to, based upon what they decide to do, subcommittee's gotta take a look at that, work it through. It could take a while,
It
could
could,
take.
or it could
a
happen in
long-
a couple of weeks, who
Right.
knows? Right.
It could be, it depends on what happens.
Okay, and then if, I just have a question, Counselor Felch, because you said that, so you're saying in a motion, if a motion is made, in that motion would be that everything that's in red and letter D would be included, is that?
Which is what I read,
Right.
just so.
Well, as long as the council's
Well,
agrees on it.
Right, well,
that's
they
what I-
would have to vote on that.
Yeah.
And also, that says that this will be reviewed and ratified by the city council every 3 years after adoption.
Right.
So the council would review that committee every 3 years and decide to keep it going or not? Is that what this says?
The purpose statement.
The purpose.
The purpose statement, okay.
Right.
Thank you. Councilor Hoffman.
Yeah, so like Tony was saying, we have to, I guess, kind of agree on these red items. I agree with him that the city manager should get a selection, and I'm not sure it's as important as that the school board gets a selection. You know, they can apply if they'd
They can
like to,
apply.
but having a designated spot for them, I think, doesn't make a lot of sense. I also agree that, well, I understand the Human Relations Committee might be better served by having businesses participate and having their input, but maybe if you're not a resident of the city, you can't be a voting member, would be a good compromise.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Stagger the terms.
I'm sure.
That's a good point as well,
Yeah.
Councilor Susie just made, is that there's no language in here to stagger the terms, and we should really, as people get appointed to this committee, some of them should be appointed for a 1-year term or a 2-year or a 3-year, just so that they're not all up at once.
Would that have to be covered in a motion tonight, Kirk, or would that
I would
something
just
that be
say,
done after?
what I would recommend is that we just go through these, this potential ordinance, right down through A, B, C, D, and just, if there's something that you guys want to vote on to put in, or, you know, whether you're gonna vote on the whole thing or not, that's up to you guys, but, just so there's nothing left out that you might want in there. For example, you could put staggered 3-year terms as determined by the appointments committee, would probably be the easiest way to do it. That way they can,
Can we,
puts
let's
it-
add that.
puts a little onus
We-
into them.
Let's do each one. Oh, do we all agree on that? Or at least a majority of us?
Staggered terms.
Staggered terms. As designated by the appointments committee. Okay.
Councilor Bogart,
What?
do you agree with that, the staggered terms?
Yes, staggered terms.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's 6 in favor of that, it's without a vote. So, next?
Unless you don't have a problem with B, with, you know, the 13 members being chosen by what you have there, then we're good on that one. It's up to you, you know, if you
Yeah.
want to change or not, it's up to you guys.
Which includes the city manager, but does not include school board. So I'm good with the way it's written.
Me too.
Yep. Everybody? Consensus?
I think you can do consensus, because you're voting on the whole thing as a package.
Right.
Yeah.
And then C, this is one I think you guys have been debating tonight on a few, for a little while, how you want to put, whether or not you want people from, you know, outside the city, businesses of that or not, if, do you want just residents, do you want, I mean, that's up, that,
I thought that Councilor Hoffman's suggestion about them being a non-voting member makes sense, but I don't know I'm not voting on this anyway, but I don't know what everybody else thinks.
I will say, I don't know as if we need that. They can go to any of the meetings, they're all public meetings, and voice their opinion. So I'm good without a business being on there.
Because we just,
Yep.
just make it for residents.
just call it residents.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is change, so after the word who, it'd be reside in the city of Laconia, or reside within the city of Laconia. And I don't need the last sentence on this. So basically, Human Relations Committee shall be comprised of members who reside within the city of Laconia.
Yep.
And then D, I think, I mean, that's legal, that was pretty
Yeah,
straightforward.
we'll stay with the red.
And again, that's
Yep.
what I read into the record, and these notes that I've taken and wrote down, I did give to the city clerk for, inclusion into the minutes.
Mayor,
Counselor?
may I have permission to ask for a vote? I'd like to call the question.
Call the question.
Okay, the question's been called. Somebody want to make a motion?
That was.
That was the motion.
and
That
I'll
was the
second.
motion. Oh,
Yep.
to call it.
And I'll second.
Okay, so,
With the adjustments, I think.
Yeah, there is a proposed motion, if you're
Yeah.
interested. You would want to change presented to amended. And the motion that is in here does also send both to the Appointments Committee as well as Government Operations and Ordinance Subcommittee after January 1 of '26.
so do I have to, can I read that or have to add anything?
No, I would read it, but that, I'm just explaining what
Okay.
the motion, but I would read it with the word amended.
As
Amended.
amended.
As opposed
Yep.
to proposed.
At the end of it or the beginning of it?
You'll see when you get to the word presented, it's probably halfway down, third line. down.
Okay. All right, I'm going to make a motion to move to approve ordinance 2025-5-25-32-5-33, amending Chapter 5 Administration of Government, Article 3, Boards and Commissions, Human Relations Committee, as presented and amended, and to refer appointment of membership to the Appointments Subcommittee, as well as referring this matter to the Government Operations and Ordinances Subcommittee to prepare a proposed draft of the Human Relations Committee purpose statement. These referrals shall be sent after January 1st, 2026. I'll look for a,
Motion made by Mark, seconded by
So-
me.
okay, so the motion's been made by Counselor Haynes and seconded by Counselor Felch. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. That's 5 opposed. Counselor Bogart, so that's a 5-1, so the motion passes. Okay. Any future agenda items here? I don't see anything, nothing on there. Kirk,
To adjourn.
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Counselor Cheney and
Ask
seconded
for
by,
discussion.
I don't think we had discussion. And Counselor Felch, second, all in favor, raise your hands. I'll see you all, I hope, on January 5th.